Let's see here. So the doctor comes from my doctoral degree in psychology from Bowling Green State University in Ohio. Got that back in '99. I studied social psychology, looking at various aspects of human sexuality, particularly Black gay male sexuality, and various issues in Black gay men's lives from a social psychological lens. And also did some work in evolutionary psychology as well. And I am a stat head. So I do a lot of research, did a lot of research while a doctoral student. Since graduating, I had a couple of short life stops with the state of California at one of the universities as a researcher, and then with the County of Los Angeles in public health. And then I went out on my own and started my consulting firm, Light and Associates, and it's since been rebranded as Light Enterprises as I expand the scope of what I do. I started out evaluating programs, particularly public health, education, looking at were the programs effective, and if so, being a statistical historian for those programs and hopefully helping them to find money to continue them. Since that time, I started doing more training and education of people on staff of my various clients. And so I said, I kind of like doing this. And at the same time, I also started teaching in the Cal State University system in the Department of Psychology, teaching statistics, research methods, learning, and behavior modification, as well as measurement, test and measurement. So we'll call it that. Mostly statistics courses and research-oriented things. In Light Enterprises, I basically have started doing business consulting, where I work with people generally at two stages. The first one would be I have an idea for a business, but I have no idea how to get it going. So I might work with someone there from the brainstorming process of what's the idea? Okay, what's the vision? What are you trying to create? And I have some proprietary products that I'm developing now to help walk people through that process without me in some cases. Or if you need me to do it with you, it'll cost you, but I'm available. And it'll cost you even if you do it without me, because it's still product. And
proprietary.
Proprietary. Yes, proprietary. It's a wonderful word.
Yep.
In a capitalist society. And I also, so we take people through a process for what we call our 6Ds, or our 6 dimensions of organizational development, which is just, starting with what are you trying to create, all the way to here's our product or service and how we innovate and keep making it better and stay current and stay fresh and stay at the top of our industry. So that is basically what I do. And I've recently added the hat of author. I'm not doing journal articles anymore. I haven't done that in quite a while, but I've actually started doing some creative writing with the intention of publishing it, and starting my own publishing company as well as an independent publisher. So
super. That's a lot of hats, Michael. Excellent.
Quite a few hats. I need to get one hat. I would be much happier, much more productive that way, I think.
Absolutely. Listen, I know I'll forget it, but tell us how we can get in touch with you online. So those that want to leave this and get bored, I hope not, can get through to you. How do we get through to you?
Okay, sorry. Well, you can reach me online in many ways. I am on Facebook under Michael Light, so just Michael, Michael, last name is Lyde, and it'll be the profile of me wearing glasses, and there's this strange woman over my shoulder, and I'm kind of looking like, because I do have a couple of relatives that have the same name that are distant relatives.
Oh, okay.
One who's like 80, so you'll know that's not me, and there's another who's maybe about 21, 22. And you can also find me on Twitter under, I have multiple Twitter accounts, but my primary one is Dr. Pookie. So that one is DoctorPouquie. And that is one of my alter egos for my podcast. I also have a podcast called Sexual Healing with Dr.
Excellent podcast, guys. You got to tune into that one. I just look forward to that one. Are you still working on that, Michael? What episode are you up to?
I relaunched, so I just recorded episode, I want to say 65,
Okay.
and I actually set the goal of recording 3 more episodes this week because I missed last week. We had the nephew with the open heart surgery, which was just a lot. So we just kind of he got through it. He's great. Got to hang out
Good
with him
news.
yesterday. You couldn't even tell he had open heart surgery.
Wow.
So we're really happy about that. But I just didn't get a chance to get behind the microphone. But I will be most likely this evening because this is a recording day. Tuesday is a recording day for me. And if you want to check out the archive of episodes, you can actually listen to them at www.sexualhealingpod. That's POD on the end.com. And that'll get you to the whole library of what I've recorded and released thus far. We started back in 2018 with a co-host, nicknamed Dark Boy, and he left me to pursue some entrepreneurial endeavors. And,
That's right.
And yeah, it was my baby, so I stuck around. And
All
so I've renamed the show, and it's now just Sexual Healing with Dr. Pookie.
Well, let's make sure the folks out there know that you're available for all these business coaching, sexual healing, you name it. You go to Michael, you'll get it all.
Yeah, because I'm not a licensed therapist, but
Okay.
Everybody comes to me for advice anyway. I ran away from therapy, and I still ended up being a therapist.
So with all your background,
yes,
one of the items we wanted to hopefully, in a concise manner, tell people how to work with the lockdown. And we're all going stir crazy. So give us your thumbnail approach to how we should be doing this.
Okay, so I'm going to probably throw a lot of information at you in a short period of time.
Okay.
The first thing I'll say, I have about 4 lampposts. The first one is to focus on what you can control. Which it sounds very simple, but the first step in that is to really kind of reframe the way you're looking at things. And they call it, it's really looking at, okay, I'm home. It's not a punishment. It's not anything I've done wrong. The key thing is to really give yourself some structure. You got to put together a routine for yourself. Make the modifications as necessary. If you're working from home, those of us that have worked from home for years, we know you have to have clear boundaries. You have to have, I work from 8 to 5. At 5:01, I'm done. If you can confine your office to a specific space and leave it, that's great. If you can't, put the work away. You want to have clear boundaries between work and home. Another thing is to give yourself a routine. So it's almost like being a robot. You wake up, you go brush your teeth, you do this, you do that, you shower, you dress, even though you know you're going to sit on the couch. It's too easy to get stuck in that rut of not doing anything at all. So that's really key. Another thing to do is to really realize that, I actually have a lot more time. Maybe you're no longer commuting to work.
That's right.
So give yourself some projects, like all those things you never get around to, like organizing your album collection, as if people still have albums. They do. I have 11 boxes of them in the garage, so I know people still have albums. But organizing your kitchen or remodeling the bathroom, whatever it is that you need to do that you can get done around the house, please do it.
Well, we appear to have lost Michael for the moment, so that gives me a chance while he works in and comes back. That gives me a chance for me to do a little bit of advertising here for the National Association of Black and White Men Together. Now, Michael was talking about his background and how you can get involved with that, and if you need to, talk to him. But a little later when he comes back on, hopefully, and here he comes, we will be moving to talk a little bit more about what he's referring to here, and that is basically what to do while you're Zooming and you're feeling a little frazzled, like I am sometimes. And he's giving very concrete information on what to do. in those circumstances. Now, Michael, as you know, is a member of our local chapter, BWMTSC. Now, he will, when he returns, tell you a little bit about how you can go to the Zooms that the National Association of Black and White Men Together get involved with. And those are twice a week or 3 times a week. One of them is a collective and the other one is individual brotherhoods, let's call it, in terms of being African American or white or other. And that's really a very useful thing for you to be able to talk to people of like mind, particularly if you are gay and perhaps you enjoy interracial relationships. And here comes Michael Beck, and he's in trifold here. So let's see if we can get him synchronized in here.
Okay, sorry about that.
Not a problem. So Michael,
I thought I put on the, huh?
Let's recap here what we have.
Okay.
Basically, we've been talking about how to look after yourself during Zoom.
Yeah.
So we'll part 2 will be some other tips on how to do that, and then we'll get into what I've been talking about while he was away.
Yes.
And Michael now is at 90 degrees, so you know he can cover every single aspect of life, even though he appears to be lying down right now. But we will press ahead. Notice how flexible we are in this world. So Michael's going to help us out, and there he goes. Bingo! Away he goes. So even better. Look at this. What a remarkable flyer this guy is. Keeps you on your toes.
Technology, you gotta love it.
Yeah. Now, the last words he said was, only do things you can have control with. And this is a good idea because he didn't have control of the ether here. But continue to talk.
You do. I mean, because the reality is for a lot of us in our society, culturally, it's really built on rugged individualism and freedom. And there are some very basic things that we're not able to do right now that we take for granted, which has caused a lot of frustration. The second tent post I'll put up on this is to really take care of your mental health or the mental animal. So the first thing I would recommend you do is what I call cognitive reappraisal. So it's all about reframing your situation. You can say, I'm stuck at home, I can't do this, I can't do that. Or you can actually reframe it and say, I'm at home now. I have the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. I get to focus on myself a bit more. I get to work on projects. I get to do this, spend more time with my family, whatever it may be. It's one of the really healthy things you can do. Also focusing on the positive. So not really looking at the fact that you're confined to home as a negative. Now, maybe you can't go out and do everything you used to do, but there's still a lot of things you can do. We all pay for Netflix. If you don't watch it because you're always busy, now you have time to watch it. It's like now that $16.99 is being put to good use. Get out of your head is a big one. When isolated and you don't have people to interact with, you can really get trapped in your head and it can get negative there. If you're not, particularly if you're dealing with something like mental health challenges or substance abuse, a history of that, people are relapsing because they're not able to go to meetings, they're not able to do this or do that. So again, really looking at how am I doing, checking in with yourself. If you're feeling anxious, you can meditate, you can get active, you could watch a comedy and, something that's going to make you laugh, get those endorphins going. You could even have sex if you need to. I mean, if there's someone here to do it with, don't bring in random strangers. This is still a pandemic.
No, that's right.
Or as people have been saying, a panorama or a Peloton, all these keywords. I'm like, y'all are killing me. It's a pandemic. But I thought I'd join the gang and say, yes, it's a panorama. But there are other things you can do besides sit there and be like, why am I stuck at home? And I get it. It's easy to get stuck in that cycle of just, it's a downward spiral. So be aware of that. One way to kind of change things or just to check in is take some deep breaths and maybe meditate, close your eyes. And even say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting others. And last but not least, with the mental animal, consult with a mental health professional if needed. If you find yourself having signs of depression, uncontrollable anxiety, um, just unsteady, and you can't calm down, you can't settle, or you're sad all the time and you can't find any joy in anything, um, consult with a mental health professional. If you have stigma or shame around that, get past it because, frankly, working with a mental health professional is a great thing. We all need assistance to varying degrees. If you have a heartbeat and you live a lifetime, you're going to need help. And sometimes you get through it on your own, but other times you could have gotten through it a lot better and learned some things, and maybe made some major changes in your life. So definitely recommend that. The next thing I would say, take care of the physical animal. The first thing we talk about these, what is it, quarantine, well, pandemic pounds. The first thing you need to do is to eat well. If your diet is kind of raggedy, you're a cheeseburger and fries kind of person, introduce some more veggies.
And fruit.
Just by default, because you're not going to be as active as you usually are.
Okay.
Even if, hmm?
I agree.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even if you're at a desk all day and you're like, oh, well, I do my walk, it's not enough. So give yourself a little bit of margin for error. Either introduce more veggies, some more fruit, get that fiber, keep you regular, but also be aware of portion sizes. It's not just about the weight loss and weight gain, but it's also about exacerbating any pre-existing medical conditions. You know, we are in a period now where people are like, I'm sick of cooking. So we all order out. I order out. And DoorDash, I got the premium membership right now. And so we'll look at one another like, you feel like cooking? No. Are you even hungry? Yeah. You don't want to cook? I don't feel like washing dishes? Okay, we order it. So definitely be aware of eating out more often, but also just the bad stuff we can cook at home. Stress drives us to sweets. Be aware of that. I just bought some Oreo cookies yesterday because I
My
know,
favorite.
yeah, they're needed around here. And so I'm not gonna go hardcore and say I'm not gonna eat any, but it's gonna be two max. And just really trying to monitor that. Another key thing, because we're home, our routine around sleep and wake up time, it can get really distorted. Because you might get back 2 to 3, 4 hours a day now because you're not commuting. If you're privileged enough to work from home, you're not commuting anymore. So that's more time. So when you used to wake up at 6 to be at work at 8, now you can sleep till 7:30, 7:45, and still be on that conference call looking real good from the chest up and possibly naked or in a pair of drawers on the bottom half, and no one sees that. It's very easy to get to work now. So you go to sleep later, you sleep in. Um, Whatever you do, be consistent with it. Would be my first recommendation. But ideally, try to stay with your original routine. Use that extra commuting time in the morning to work on a project, draw. Adult coloring books are a beautiful thing. I got my little kid over there, and I'm looking at like I need to do some Zentangles tonight. Whatever it is that's going to excite you and grab your attention and give you some enjoyment. Another thing would be to exercise. The gyms are closed by and large, but you can still do a lot at home. I got myself some exercise bands because I don't have room for weights and all that in a bench. But I got some exercise bands. I got those discs to do the push-ups on. I can also have them on my shoes and I can slide around. Remember that Reebok slide thing? I can now do a lot of work at home, yoga, Pilates. YouTube has, if you need it, YouTube has it. You can
Absolutely.
even get edited porn on YouTube without all the sex. You can get all the bad acting. whatever you might want, it's on YouTube. Trust me. Power yoga, Kundalini, Hatha, all the different just hardcore workouts. They're all there. Body weight exercises is another good one. There are some really good books out there on Amazon that I picked up on just different body weight exercises, using your body as the weight, and you're lifting it and pushing it and pulling it in different ways. It's a workout. But yoga can be fine. Getting up and off the floor enough times is a workout. So definitely focus on that physical animal. Make sure that you're staying active, because that'll help reduce anxiety, stress, get the good endorphins going. That dopamine, feeling all good, sex will do that as well. If you don't have a quarantine buddy that's available for sex, then you may want to really get into solo sex. That can go beyond the mere manipulation of the hands and the Johnson. There are tons of techniques you can use. Learn some new stuff, all these different things. Look on the internet, they're out there. Toys, whatever it is that you can, it's certainly to help you get off, but it's also to help you get in touch with yourself, which is, again, checking in with the physical animal, checking in on the mental animal, and really affirming yourself, and possibly even expanding your sexuality. So when Miss Rona is really kind of beaten down enough and we can get back out into the world, you got some new tricks you can try with somebody. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Michael. Okay? Wonderful.
That's great. That's Dr. Pookie talking.
All right. So, got a couple of minutes left here. Now, remember, folks, what you got here was kind of a free advice. So I'm hoping that you come back. And one way of doing that, of course, is to talk to Michael. But there's another way, because Michael, as we said earlier, is involved with our national organization. And if you could give us a quick rundown on how that works. And I'll just give a plug here. If you want to know more about this in terms of the organization, email nabwmt@nabwmt.org. And now Michael will give us a quick rundown on what happens at these tremendous Zoom meetings for men.
Okay. Right before I slide into that, and this is actually very much related, the last thing I talk about is taking care of the social animal. So make sure you're connecting with people outside. One of the ways that BWMT has done that is they've set up these Zoom meetings that we have potentially 3 of them every week. The Southern California chapter has 2 of their own as well, on Wednesdays and on Saturdays. So Wednesday evening was our coffee hour, and then we have Saturday afternoon. But the National also has a Black Caucus that meets every Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. That meeting is typically an hour, 15 minutes, because we do have folks on the East Coast that participate. But some of the rest of us, we've been known to stick around for 4 or 5, 6 hours.
Wow.
And the conversations are incredible. Like, these are people that one of them I've met before, the others, 2 of them I've met in person now. The others are people that were strangers to me, but now they're brothers. I look forward to that call every Tuesday, and we might have a topic, or we might just start messing with one another, because now we're like siblings. The Sunday call with the National, and again, there's a White Caucus call that used to be every Wednesday. I believe they're not meeting. They're not on the weekly schedule now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know they're ramping up now to do some anti-racism work and training. So they may be picking up their meeting schedule. The Sunday meeting is basically a combined meeting with all members and friends of NABWMT. I'm about to call you NWA. And the first part of that meeting, the original meeting, was about an hour and change. And it would really be like a check-in. What happened in your last week? How you doing? Because initially it was really kind of like emotional CPR. In some cases, people were like, suddenly I'm home every day and I'm locked in, and I'm just like, oh my God. So we did have a lot of folks that really needed that kind of connection. And it's slowly evolved to the point where we're talking about different topics. We still check in. That's still the bulk of that time anywhere from 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And then we have another 20 or so for discussion. About 4 weeks ago, I introduced what I call the overtime. So after the first hour and 15 minutes, that first part of the meeting concludes, we take a 15 to 20-minute break, get you a drink, go to the bathroom, kiss your husband, whatever it is you need to do. And when you get ready, come on back, because we're actually continuing conversation. We typically start with an icebreaker. Recent questions have been, what's your preferred type of underwear to wear?
Boxers.
This past Sunday, the question was, what is your least and favorite body part, whether it be on you or someone else? We talked about, oh gosh, I can't remember the first week. Just questions to kind of loosen people up and to also learn that random trivia about one another. We also have planned, I might introduce a meaty question for discussion. And this meeting can go for another hour, sometimes 2 hours. I believe I was on the call with some of the Mountain and Western and even Eastern crew until about maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock our time. So it ran
Must
long.
have been good.
It's that Tuesday night crew. We're just sitting there. Sometimes we're actually fully in the conversation. Other times we're working on other stuff, but we're sitting there listening and talking and laughing and making comments. And it's just a good time. And so that overtime session, we're looking at doing some movie nights. We're looking at doing some game nights where we actually do online gaming on Zoom, where we play a game together, Pictionary, categories, something crazy, just again to connect, because people are hungry for that connection. And right now it's virtual, but in the right circumstances, virtual can be enough. Maybe not exactly what you desire, but it's enough. So
Michael,
that's how I've been helping.
Wonderful. You've heard it all here. And I just want to thank you, Michael, for coming in on here and giving us all the advice, telling us where to go. So this is Ken Barron, signing off with the National Association of Black and White Men Together. Michael, say goodbye.
Yes. Bye-bye, y'all.
We'll talk to you later.
All righty. Take care now.